We've been talking about Babylon falling, and if you go back and look at the first ones, it takes me several times listening to something to get it. You know how long we went through those feasts? Well, that was something we had never heard anything about before. And just hearing it for 30 minutes on Sunday morning one time, I'm not going to get it. And these are things that it's the same thing. Remember back in school when they teach on one subject for a whole year? I mean, it was different things in that subject. Miss Ellie, you taught English. You taught English the whole year. It was different parts, but it was all had to do with English. Well, we're looking at a lot of different things. In looking in Revelation, we have concentrated on Babylon falling because I think that's where we are. That we're beginning to see it. But what's going to happen when Babylon falls? That's not everything that's happening now. There's a lot of things happening at one time. And we can see it. We can see it. There's going to be tribulation when Babylon falls. Well, we've already said that because the world financial system is going to collapse. Something's got to take its place. The nations are bringing Babylon down. So the nations will rise up and take the place of Babylon. We've got to have a financial system or the whole world will be in chaos. And we can see that now. So what we're going to do for the next few Sundays is just take our time, look at it slow and easy, and try to pick out what's going on now. A lot of this stuff is happening at one time. It's not this happens and it's through and then something else happens and it's through. It's all flowing together. It's all going together. It has to. The rapture is going to take place after Babylon falls. During the time that the nations are ruling the world, because that's when the mark of the beast shows up. And we're going to look at that today. In the book of Revelation, it tells a story. It gives you an outline of the story, like in chapter 14. We go back to it a lot because it's an outline of everything that's happened. But in order to understand what's happening, you've got to define what Babylon is. We did it. You've got to define what the nations are and what they're going to do. You've got to define the false prophet and what he'll do. And in the book of Revelations, it tells you what's going on the earth and also what's going on in heaven. So you've got to, John will tell a piece of the story, and then he'll tell another piece of the story, and somewhere in there it'll tell you when that's happening. A lot of it's happening at one time, but he can only tell you one piece of the story at a time. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Now, I'm just going to touch on this one thing because this kind of helps prove the point that there's a lot of different things happening at one time. If you go to chapter 10, we're going back a ways. In chapter 10, John saw an angel standing on the sea. And in verse 6, and swear by him that liveth forever and ever, who created heaven and the things that are therein, and the earth and the things that are there, and the sea and the things which are therein, that there should be time no longer. So even when you go back to chapter 10, He's talking about the very end. So he's told a story. And then he's to start telling it again. And he tells it several times throughout the whole book. But listen to this. But in the days of the voice of the seventh angel, when he shall begin to sound, this is when the seventh angel sounds. Babylon falls after the seventh angel sounds. So we're in that last time period. The mystery of God should be finished, as he hath declared to his servants the prophets. The prophecies of the end times are coming to pass. That's what we've seen. That's what's happening. And the voice which I heard from heaven spake unto me again, and go and take the little book. So he takes a little book out of the angel's hand. And he ate the little book. In its mouth it was sweet, and its belly it was bitter. I'm skipping on through this because we'll go out of cover. And the last verse, verse 11, and he said unto me, thou must prophesy. He said unto me, John wrote the book. John saw the vision. So the angel said to John, you must prophesy again before many peoples and nations and tongues and kings. You must prophesy again. John wrote 5 books of the New Testament. The Gospel of John, 3 letters, and the book of Revelation. We went through the whole Gospel of John, and we learned a lot in there that I'd never heard anybody say anything about. We're studying the book of Revelation now, and we're getting things out of it that I had never heard before. Because we're able to see the prophecies come to pass. It's not that we're anything. It's just we're living in a time it's happening. You can see it. So what's John doing? He's prophesying before peoples, nations, tongues, and kings. He's not physically here, but his words are. His prophecies are. What Jesus told John, he wrote it in a book. And now we're reading the book 2,000 years later. John has prophesied. And it's not just us. We're not the only ones getting this. It's happening all over the world. It's time. Okay, that's just one thing that's going on now. So you see what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that's happening right now in our lifetime. In chapter 14, let's go back to our outline. We talked about this a lot, so I won't read these scriptures. There's 3 angels. The first one says he's preaching the everlasting gospel to every nation, kindred, tongue, and people. Same thing John doing in his book. The second angel says Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made the nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. That's what we've been going over for 7 Sundays. The third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink the wine of the wrath of God. So the mark of the beast will be here when Christians are still. We're going to have a decision to make. That's what we're going to be talking about. Verse 13, verse 12. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, write, blessed are the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth. Yea, saith the Spirit, they may rest from their labors, and their works be followed them. So there's gonna be Christians die during this time. We're gonna talk about some serious things. But now I'm not gonna sugarcoat it much. Gonna have to a little bit so it'll stay up on the internet. But it's serious. It is. We've already seen some of our friends, a lot of our friends and family get deathly ill, and we've seen people die. And still seeing the effects of the plagues, if you want to call them that. We're going to keep on seeing them for a while. But God, this is all part of God's plan, and He's taking care of us. Remember what we talked about last week. God's got a plan. And He says right here, blessed are the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth. Well, they'll rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. So we're going to have a time of rest, and whatever we do now is going to follow us. It's all being written down in the book. So, in chapter 14, we're specifically not to take the mark of the beast. Let's just look at that. Let's just take that and talk about that today. If it's not already in the earth, it will be shortly. And I don't think it is. Because we're going to know it, and we're going to make a conscious decision. You're not going to accidentally fall off into it. So, if it's not in the earth today, how do we recognize it when it does come? In order to know what the mark is, we have to have a basic knowledge of what the beast is. Because the beast is going to be worshiping his image. So let's go back to chapter 13. Now remember, when Babylon falls, the nations will take its place. And the beast is the nations. It's the eighth, which is of the seventh. And this is stuff we've already covered, so I'm not going to go into it much. John said, starts off in verse 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads, 10 horns. Upon his horn 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. The 7 heads and 10 horns, the 7 heads are 7 rulers, the 7th head will be wounded unto death, and the 8th beast, there will be another one come out of the 7th. We talked about Germany week before last. Philosophy that was in Germany is in the whole earth today. How does, well, let me just keep reading. And the beast which I saw was like a leopard. What's a leopard? It's a big cat. It's a predator. It's walking around hunting something to kill. His feet like a bear. Have you ever seen a bear's foot?
Yep.
What about that wide, something like that? Or bigger?
It looked like
One swipe can just take anything down. So it's a predator, a powerful predator. His mouth like the mouth of a lion. You ever heard a lion roar? I have in the zoo. That scared daylights out of me, and it's behind cages, you know. Loud, powerful. Sounds scary, don't it? The dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. This is a powerful, loud predator with authority. And I saw one of his heads as it was wounded to death, and the deadly wound was healed. All the world wondered after the beast. And we've already talked about that. We thought, well, Hitler's dead. Germany's defeated. But we see how their philosophy, their technology, and all that was spread all over the earth. And we know that because how did Hitler gain control in Germany? He controlled everything they saw and everything they heard. He controlled the media.
And that's what's happening today.
And while I'm saying this, notice what's going on now. Not just in this country, worldwide. I'm not just, Babylon is not the United States. Babylon is everywhere. And the nations envelop the whole world. We're not just talking about the United States, we're talking about the whole world. Okay? It's worse in other countries than it is here. In North Korea, they've got 3 stations, and they're all government stations. They don't even try to hide it. Those people don't know nothing except what they tell them. Same thing is in Germany. How did those German people sit there and praise this man that was marching 6 million Jews to the death camp just right down the road? Now, I put something on Facebook, and it's got a dirty word in it. But Eisenhower, when he saw what they had done, he told them, you go and gather up all these German citizens, and you march them down there and make them look at it. I want them to see what these people have done. And he told them just what he thought they were. And he did. He made those citizens go down there and see what they had been supporting all that time. They didn't even know. They'd been brainwashed. If they did know it, you know what some people do when they see something they don't, it just shocks them? Hear no evil, see no evil. What's up? Speak no evil. There's coming a time we're not going to be able to hide from this. You ever saw these old German clips? What happened when they're burning books? Just mountains of books. They take them out, destroying history, destroying statues, anything that reminded them of their past, they destroyed it. What's happening now?
Same thing.
Same thing. How did everybody address instead of saying, howdy, how you doing? I'm doing just fine. You know what they did? Heil Hitler.
Yeah.
Heil. Well, that word meant, I didn't look it up. It's a form of worship. I could, if you met a German soldier on the sidewalk, you better say that, or he could throw you in jail. How it, now it ain't got that bad here yet. But it's coming. But what are you gonna do when they say worship the beast? That's what they were doing in Germany. Hitler was a beast. He no better than an animal, the way he ate, the way they treated people. And the same doctors that were experimenting on people in Germany taught our doctors how to do the same thing. It's still going on today on a worldwide scale. Okay. We're trying to get to the mark of the beast. Verse 4, and they worshiped the dragon which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like the beast? Who is likened unto the beast? And who is able to make war with him? If the beast is the nations, and that's a definition, we've already got the definition out of Revelations. The beast is the nations that take down Babylon. Now they're in control. When they take control of the world, they will have destroyed the financial system, decimated it worldwide, and replaced it with something that take control, the nation's control. And it'll be 10, according to Revelation, that 10 nations that are in full control. There'll probably be a lot more of them signing up, you know. They'll all have to sign up to do without money. But it'll be 10 of them controlling it. And when the Antichrist comes out, it'll be one on top of that. How are the nations going to control the money? And what I said a while ago, I don't think the mark of the beast is here now, but he's sure getting us ready for it. Because if you don't do this, then you can't do this. If you don't do this, then you can't do this. And a lot of stuff that they're trying to push through now is against the Nuremberg codes that were made after Germany. When they found out what Germany had done, at the Nuremberg trials, they hung newsmen, they hung politicians, they hung officers and generals. I saw a picture of it. There was a dozen of them hanging. All sorts. And they wrote new, not national laws, international laws to prevent that from ever happening again. And some of the stuff that they're pushing worldwide now is not just against our Constitution, it's against those Nuremberg codes. And they can all be hung for it because it's crimes against humanity. And what I'm saying to you, if you don't believe it, go look it up. I did. That's not coming off the top of my head.
Brother Dan?
Yes, sir.
Don't you think that, you know, they had the Nuremberg trials and so forth. You know, the real key people, our government and other governments, and the Catholic Church, they spirited them away to different countries. And they just chose a few that's going to be the fall guys for it.
Yeah.
So that's the way I look at it. And that's why we have so many problems today, because they're the ones that's in power right now today all around this globe, here in the United States included.
Well, we wouldn't be going through this again.
Yeah.
They're taking a playbook from, remember, Germany had just been in a world war. They were completely destroyed. 20 or 25 years later, here they are again. They took over Europe, all of the Middle East, part of Africa before they got stopped. They would have took Russia if the winter hadn't knocked them back. They like froze to death in Russia. But they just about captured Russia. And here we are again. Not Germany as a country. I'm talking about the spirit. Babylon. Germany couldn't have come back that quick and done so much damage without somebody financing them.
That's right.
And the ones that financed Hitler financed the other side too.
That's right.
Now both sides are in debt to Babylon, and we've never gotten out of debt. Never been out of debt. And it's so massively in debt now, there's no way to pay them back. The only way to do it, take them down. All debts are wiped out. What happened when the Hebrews were delivered out of Egypt? They spoiled the Egyptians. They took money, jewels, gold, precious things with them when they crossed the Red Sea. And Egypt never saw it again. When Babylon falls, all debt's going to be wiped out. I think it's like the last time I heard 24 trillion. I can't fathom trillion. Billion about my reach. Million, I live all my life on $1 million. Now they're talking trillions. Now the word quadrillions has come. That's how much money these handful of people have amassed over the centuries. If you're ruling countries and the population of the world is in your pocket, ever how much money's in the world is how much you got access to. I know I'm going way out there. May have to stretch a little bit. But that's just how far Babylon is. When the nations bring Babylon down, then the nations will be controlling all of that. And that is a massive, massive what if somebody put you over millions of dollars and it's just sitting there? What a temptation that would be. Well, that never makes sense. There's going to have to be people running the show. Now, it's not going to be over when Babylon falls. Let me just stick with the plan here. So the beast has destroyed Babylon. This is going to happen in the future. And has restored order to the entire world. So who would be able to withstand the power of this beast and make war with it? It already took down a worldwide corruption system. Taking control of it, wiped out all debt, and we're rocking and rolling now. Be not deceived. What did Jesus say? Be not deceived. Many will come in my name, saying I'm Christ. Who is able to make war with the beast? Well, we're going to get to it. I don't know how long it's going to take. Jesus is going to take down the beast. When he comes back, he's the only one that can take down the beast. And he's going to throw it, the false prophet in the lake of fire. I'm getting ahead of myself here, but there's good news. It ain't all bad. There's going to come an end to it. Jesus is going to put an end to it. The beast makes war with the saints. He can't get to Jesus. Jesus is in heaven. The saints that's went on before us, my parents, your parents, all the Christians you know, the beast can't get his hands on them. Who's he going to go after? The ones he can get his hands on. He's tied to the earth just like we are. The faithful in Jesus. us. But there's a time limit on him. He just got so much time. Verse 5, and there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. He can stand on the earth and talk stuff about God and about Jesus, but he can't get to it. He's the one that was behind the crucifixion of Jesus and all the apostles except for John. They tried to kill John, and John wouldn't bow. God saved him. He must prophesy before many nations in the days to come. John hadn't wrote this book yet. Wasn't time for him. If it's not your time, it don't make no difference what happens. You're not going. You're just not going until it's your time. So if you're not gone yet, I'm looking at all y'all. We're not gone yet. It's not time. Okay. When it comes time, we'll go. You're not free. We're not free. He's going to talk some stuff. He's going to be given power. Power is given unto him to continue 42 months. He's got a time limit. He can just do this so long. He opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, blaspheming his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. We already see people publicly cursing God and heaven, saying it's going to be any way we want to live here, that's how it's going to be in heaven. No, it's not. No, it's not. And them that dwell in heaven. If you try to tell some of these people you're going the wrong way, what you're doing is not right, you're not going to make it. Jesus is the way. You're going to get a cussing off some of them. It was given unto him to make war with the saints. The saints is left on earth, I don't want to get to. It was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. If he overcomes them, this is one of the freest countries that's left on the face of the earth. We're losing a lot of that, but Christians can still speak out, blow up, and speak out. But it's going, at some point, after Babylon falls, when the beast takes control, he's going to overcome the saints. And power was given to him over all kindreds and tongues and nations, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of the life of the Lamb. Slain from the foundation of the world, there are still saints here when all this happens. The saints won't worship him. And you're going to have to make up your mind. That's why we're studying this. We're going to have to recognize this when he gets here. And if the mark of the beast is not here now, it's a dang good time to practice. Because when it does get here, it's going to be worse than it is now. If any man have an ear to hear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword shall be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. What's it going to take to get through this? Stuff we talk about over and over. Patience, faith. There's going to come an end to it. There's a time limit on it. And because of our faith, we're going to wind up on the right side of it. Right? Ain't nobody saying much. Now remember what we read in chapter 14 a while ago. I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, Write, Blessed are the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth. Yea, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors and their works do follow them. It's going to be some work involved in getting through this. So, where are we right now? If Babylon's falling, a lot of the stuff I just got through reading about the beast is happening now. It's all, a lot of it's happening at one time. And we know that Jesus is going to take this beast down. And the world financial system hasn't been taken down yet. I don't think it's going to be very long. When that happens, then I'm going to start looking up. Look up, for your redemption draweth nigh. And we know Jesus comes. When he comes like a thief in the night. Nobody's going to know when he comes. We need to be ready now. Stay ready now. We've got a unique opportunity that has never been on the earth before. These same type of things happened back in Nebuchadnezzar's day. Read the book of Jeremiah sometime. I used to just hate that book. I couldn't hardly read it. Just a down, just bring it down. When I'm talking about this stuff, I have to remind myself, okay, tell them it's going to be better. It's going to get better. Well, Jeremiah told them what to do. He said, if you'll do what the Lord tells you to do, everything's going to be okay. Did they do it? No. I don't know how many times you read in Jeremiah, the Lord said, I've sent prophets to them since I delivered them out of Egypt. And I got up early and I stayed up late. Tell them, and yet they still wouldn't listen. There's preachers and teachers and prophets and people having dreams. I don't know how many different ways God's trying to get it to us now. He's trying to tell people. Yet some of them's going hard as they can in the wrong direction. Other ones just standing around, looking around like they just woke up. Very few paying attention. You know what Jeremiah did? He just kept right on keeping on. He had a rough go of it. While he was stuck in prison, Daniel was the next in line to the king in Babylon. The Lord told him, he said, if you'll give up and go to Babylon, everything will be okay. You look at what happened to the ones that was in Babylon, they made it pretty good. The ones that didn't, most of them died. So we're just going to have to keep doing what God tells us to do. I think that's why he named this Lady Babylon. Because some of the same things that happened back then, and then I believe it was, I got time to look, maybe I can find it. In Jeremiah, I think it was 25. Let me look to see if it's not, I won't hunt it anymore. Nah, it's not. I've read so much. Anyway, it's the last chapter, now here it is, chapter 30. The fierce anger of the Lord shall not return until he hath done it, and until he hath performed the intents of his heart in the latter days, you shall consider it. So what the saints, some of the same thing God told them back then, is good for our day too. In the latter days, you'll consider what I'm telling Jeremiah. Okay, anybody got any? Ain't nobody joined in much with you this time.
So did you tell us what the sign, what the sign was gonna be? What the mark was gonna be? Did you tell us?
I don't think I got that far. Let's see. I did say I was gonna get to it, though, didn't I? Well, what they're talking about doing now, they're talking about, whatever they're talking about doing is coming down the road. It's using a chip instead of money. Well, I've got one on my debit card now. You just stick it in the little machine. You don't have to swipe it anymore. It's got a chip in it. Well, if they put one in your hand, or scan you, have they take your temperature now? You know, it won't hurt. Just slip it under here. They can scan you when you walk in. If you do something I don't like, they turn it off.
Brother Dan, it's been about a little over a year ago, there was a doctor talking about taking the mark of the beast, or where they would put it on your body. He said there's two places on your body where they can put it in it, your body won't refuse it. He said one is right here in this meaty part of your hand, by your thumb, and the other is right here in your forehead. He said it's only two places in the body that something can be placed there and your body won't try to get rid of it.
Yeah, I know people think I'm crazy, but they already talking about it too. And think about this, when Babylon falls, the financial system is going to be proven to be faulty. When the jet airplanes flew into the Twin Towers, you're going to have to give up some of your rights to stay safe. We're going to monitor everything you text, all your phone calls, and all that stuff. Everybody said, okay, sounds good to me.
And they're doing it.
Well, they've been doing it for 20 years. So now you see what all this bunch, how they controlled you with your finances? We've got to do something so that'll never happen again. And here's what we're going to do. And everybody's going to say, oh yeah, it sounds like that, didn't it? I mean, I like that debit card. I don't have to worry about having cash, all this kind of stuff. Come up a few pennies short, can't buy something, you stick that card in there. Well, we're going to make it easy for you. You won't have to keep up with that card.
But when they place that in your body, it'll be like that cell phone. There will be no hiding place.
There's not now, but you're right.
I think the mark of the beast is going to be very visible. It's not going to be hidden underneath your skin or under, it's going to be stamped on you where it shows. Everybody, when you look at somebody, you can tell that they have mark. Because there's going to be a lot of crazy trickery going on, and people stealing, just like they do now, hacking into your accounts, trying to steal your money, or the government stealing your money like they did me. I worked 30 years, paid Social Security 30 years, and when my husband died, they took away my Social Security. They gave me his, yes, but I earned that money. I paid that money into the system, and they took it away from me.
They didn't make two.
They're liars and cheats.
Help me.
I've always thought we would have a choice. What if they hold us down and give it to us? I mean, I'll die first.
Well, we didn't really, we're going to go into it some more next week, but if you go back and read in Revelation, you can't buy it, you can't sell it.
Well,
If you walk through Walmart's and your chip don't beat, you can't buy that.
As long as I can raise a turnip, and I hate
I
turnips.
mean, that will be public. You'll have to make a decision, get it or not. I mean, it won't be stamped on you, but they gonna know it.
I can't.
And I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just saying it's gonna be something like it.
I told somebody once, go ahead, all they could do was kill choice, that's what I'll do.
Well,
We'll have a choice.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
will
yeah.
not be able to force you. Everybody has a choice and
I have enough faith in God.
well, there's stuff going on right now that's making people have to choose.
Yeah, right.
If enough people will stand up and just say, no, we're not gonna do that. There are lawyers out there that'll take class action lawsuits for nothing,
Yeah.
for a piece of whatever they get. You get together with a bunch of other people and take these people to court, make them pay. There ain't no way they can win, because it's against the law, against the Constitution, what they're doing.